Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to make buffalo wings. Buffalo wings are sort of ideal American bar food. These were invented back in the 1960s in the Anchor Bar in New York and may have been based on some other wings recipes before that point. People today are used to going into bars, ordering buffalo wings, maybe getting some veggies on the side, and basically enjoying these tangy, spicy, delicious wings. Today we're going to talk a lot about how to make the sauce. We're going to talk about how to cut the wings, how to cook them, how to toss them, as well as all the stuff that goes into accompanying them. The veggies, oftentimes these are paired with a blue cheese dip and stuff like that. So sit back, enjoy, and hope you find this useful. And so now a look at our ingredients. The sauce itself is made from butter, garlic, tomato paste, or in German Tomatenmark, Tabasco sauce, and I have 2 small bottles here. Each one is 60 milliliters in size, and white wine. I chose a pinot grigio here that's slightly sweet. Well, it's not really sweet, it's still a dry wine, but it's sweeter than some of the others. And it's also very fruity. I find the fruitiness adds a lot. Of course, we have our chicken wings. I'll show you how to cut those. Carrots. You can use celery, but I chose fennel in this case. And then the blue cheese dip will be made with mayonnaise, creme fraiche or sour cream, lemon juice, and blue cheese. In this case, I used a Roquefort. So here I have 2 cloves of garlic. I've peeled them again. Just twist the garlic in your fingers until you feel the skin start to come off. Then I've twisted it, chopped it kind of fine. From here, I'm going to take a dab of butter. I would say you probably want, I don't know, something like this. Now, one of the funny things about this recipe is that the more butter you add, the less it sticks to the chicken wings. So if you want it to be super spicy, you cut down on the butter. And then that means that you have a lot more tomato paste that's going to just kind of stick to the chicken and give you a lot more flavor. But I think that this is a good amount of butter. I'm going to turn the burner on to about medium, and I'm going to go ahead and cook this until I can really smell the garlic. So the next thing I'm going to do while the garlic cooks is I'm going to start to prep my veggies. Basically, I'm going to make some basic carrot sticks. And basically these will go on the side along with the blue cheese dipping sauce. And we will go ahead and set these up for that. Now, you can use celery. As I say, I'm using fennel in this case, partly because here over in Germany, it's a little easier to get smaller quantities of fennel. Again, you'll just take 1 or 2 of these pieces off. Since this is a big one, I only did 1, and then wash it. And now, in this case, I'm going to go ahead and just slice it into pieces suitable for dipping. By now you can start to hear the garlic cooking. Now the last thing I'm going to do on this cutting board is I'm going to go ahead and cut these. And usually what I find the easiest thing to do is to flip them on their back, and then you can just kind of cut through the joint like that. It's a little easier to see the joint in this way. And remember, it connects it right into the corner. So that. Now I can start to really smell the garlic, which means it's basically ready for the next stage. But I'm going to go ahead and finish cutting these a couple of pieces first. Basically, this is called the drummet. This is called the flat. We're going to use both of them in this case. On to the sauce. Once the garlic is smelling really nice and good, we're going to take our tomato paste or tomaten mark. Again, this is 200 grams. And I'm just going to squeeze it all in. If you're in the US, you probably won't have these. You'll probably have the cans. You just open them up and spoon them in. Let's go ahead and try to get it all in. And then we're going to go ahead and just stir this around. And as we stir it around, basically, all this butter and garlic is going to get absorbed, mixed with this tomato paste. The tomato paste is an emulsifier, and it is a thickener. And so this is very similar to making a roux in sort of American or some continental soup traditions. So now I'm just going to go ahead and stir it for a bit, and I'll come back when it's ready. So as this continues to cook, you'll see a few things. You'll start to see the tomato paste start to steam vigorously. The red will bleed into the butter, and you'll start to smell the cooking tomatoes, and that's when we know we're ready for the next step, which is to add the wine. Now here I have a standard 750 ml bottle of wine. So I'm going to add about a quarter of this, so about the same as a normal sort of wine glass. Or maybe a little less than a standard wine glass. And now I'm going to go ahead and stir this vigorously until everything's neatly dissolved, and you can start to see everything kind of thicken together. And at this point, you're going to start to notice that the butter isn't separating again. About as soon as it's done stirring in and coming to a boil, we're going to add our Tabasco sauce. And this is about 120 milliliters of Tabasco sauce. And for the small bottles, unfortunately, there's not a better way of doing it than just to turn it upside down and shake it. But I'm going to add 2 of these small bottles. And I'll stir it in, and that will basically be done. Now, if this is too spicy for you, this is fairly on the spicy side, you could add 1 of these bottles, and you could add maybe a tablespoon or so of like a wine vinegar. And I can really smell that Tabasco sauce coming through. Some people like to use Frank's Red Hot, which is just fine. It's hard to find here in Germany, so Tabasco it is. But either way, we're talking about an American-style hot chili sauce with lots of vinegar. And here we go. And there is our sauce. Now it comes time to cook the wings. Most restaurants are going to go ahead and just throw them in the deep fryer like this. Most of us at home don't like to do that for one reason or another, so we're going to pan fry these. I'm going to add just a bit of oil into the bottom of the pan. And that ought to be enough. And then what I'm going to do is turn the burner on maybe a bit above medium. So maybe like on a range of 1 to 10, maybe a 6 or maybe a 7. And then I'm going to go ahead and arrange the wings here, both the flats and the drummets. And basically we're going to go ahead and slowly cook these until they're done. While they're cooking, we will make the blue cheese sauce, and then from that point, we will be more or less ready to present. So here I've gone ahead and I've put a lid on top of this to kind of help them cook a little faster. And now I'm going to go ahead and start with the sauce. The sauce is a mixture of mayonnaise and creme fraiche or sour cream mixed with blue cheese and lemon. So let's go ahead and start this up. Just going to start with a dollop of mayonnaise. Dollop being kind of like a spoonful. And to this, we will spoon in sour cream. Now, in the US, a lot of people will just use fresh or basically blue cheese salad dressing. I kind of don't like to do that. I like to kind of make this myself. And then basically I'm going to stir this up. Now that this is kind of stirred up, I'm going to add blue cheese. In this case, I have some Roquefort. Ideally, it should be a somewhat firm, slightly maybe crumbly blue cheese. Just add some of that here. It doesn't really take a lot. And then I'm going to kind of stir this together. So here I've stirred it together really well. This is the most critical of the stirring stages. And now I'm going to squeeze just some lemon juice in. I suppose you could probably use lime juice, but I think lemon juice is a little better in terms of having a little bit of a sweetness to the sour, which lime juice typically doesn't have. Lime juice tends to be a little bit more bitter. So again, I'm going to stir this now again, and it will start to get a little bit lighter in texture, a little bit more liquid, and that's a pretty good mixture. Needs a little bit more blue cheese. So I'm going to add a little more blue cheese and stirring again, and then this will be set aside for the final presentation. So now we can start to smell that these are starting to cook, and the next step is going to be to flip these and turn them over. See, the skin is starting to brown up just a little bit, and then I'm going to leave the lid off for like another 30 seconds, and I'll put it back on. That's to allow the water vapor to escape, so that we're not basically just steaming these. And then from there, we will go ahead and continue to cook them with the cover on. Cover on kind of helps them cook a little faster, but the cover off allows them to dry out a bit. So now, when you're pretty sure that these are now all the way cooked, we can look at this. This is, I'm not sure about this one. So anyway, I'll come back in a few minutes when I'm pretty sure these are all the way cooked, and we'll toss these in the barbecue, or the buffalo sauce. In fact, the buffalo sauce is basically a kind of barbecue sauce. It has all the aspects to it: something slightly sweet, something sour, a solvent like an alcohol, and of course a thickener, in this case the tomato. So I'll let these cook a few more minutes, and then we'll toss them in sauce. So now these are looking pretty done. I'm going to go ahead and put them into the bowl here and toss them with the sauce. This is fairly simple. Now, usually I find this is about enough wings for 2 people, or 1 person if you're really hungry. So, here we go. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to spoon some sauce in over the top. So now, having stirred this around, I'm going to go ahead and normally I would put whatever. I'm going to serve to 1 person here, but hungry today, so put all these in here. So if you were making this number for 2 people, you would split it into 2 plates. Going to arrange our vegetables. And then I will add the sauce at the end. I'm just going to do it this way. And then this is the dipping sauce will go on in the other corner. You know, the dip is thick enough that we don't really have to put it in a bowl. But we could put it in a bowl like this, but that's a lot of dip. So I'm actually just gonna spoon like that. And there we have it. American buffalo wings with carrot sticks, celery or fennel, and blue cheese sauce. And there you have it, how to make buffalo wings. You can scale this up, scale it down. Maybe about 6 wings, 6 whole wings is enough maybe for 1 person for a heavy meal or 2 people for a light meal. You can also take that same blue cheese sauce and you can use it as a salad dressing, you know, pair it with a garden salad, that sort of thing. Now, a couple of variations worth mentioning. I have a vegetarian friend who takes the same sauce and puts it on roasted cauliflower because being a vegetarian, he doesn't want to eat chicken wings. And you can, as I say, you can substitute different hot sauces, different wines. My favorite here is a very fruity white wine because it's it adds some extra complexity to the sauce. You can make large batches. The rest of the sauce can go in the refrigerator, and otherwise it's just a generally very easy, very quick dish to make. Final advice on this particular dish, these buffalo wings. It's better to slightly overcook the wings than have them undercooked because once you take them off the pan, you can't put them back on once you've tossed them with the sauce. A second thing that's worth mentioning is it's important to kind of control the acidity. Tabasco sauce has a lot of vinegar in it, so if you cut down on the Tabasco sauce, you need to add more. You need to add a little bit of vinegar to compensate. And finally, if you use a different hot sauce, you may have to compensate. Anyway, hope you really enjoyed this. Hope it's useful to you. If you need any help or anything, please feel free to comment.